everybody, and welcome back to another Fantasy Football Week as we look back upon game week 31 and how we did. Now, this was a very interesting week, I guess, because there were only 4 games in it due to, I guess, European matches, due to FA Cup matches. There were only 4 games going on, but they were very interesting games for sure, and I'm very happy with the results personally. Amazingly, I got 89 points, which is kind of, well, it's all down to one person, isn't it, really? The 58 point Salah, who was, I've run out of words for how good he was. Okay, we'll come on to that though. Last week I was talking about, I was umming and erring about whether or not to change my team, because for those who don't know, when you transfer players out, you're allowed 1 transfer a week. When you do more than that, it costs you points, so you actually can go backwards. You know, you can get worse, which I think I did, and I was umming and erring because the thing is, the teams who are playing are not good teams. Only Liverpool, really, you would say, there is the good team. Everton, I guess, are doing okay, but very much just okay. So I, in the end, made 5 transfers, which cost me 12 points. I think it's 3 points per transfer. You get 1 free. I brought in Bergovic in goal. I've been a Bournemouth defender and Callum Wilson up front. My theory was Bournemouth were not going to concede against West Brom. I was wrong. Then I put in 2 Crystal Palace players because I believed Crystal Palace would beat Huddersfield. I was right. However, those players didn't do anything. Well, they did, but you know what I'm saying. I already had Decor in there, so I figured he's going to pick up points. There's no point switching him, even though I thought Liverpool were going to beat Watford. They did. I also thought that Mane was going to do well, and he's a player who I would probably leave in there for next week, because the problem with putting in these players was that I would then have to remove them the week after, costing me potentially another 12 points, so 24 points in total. So I would need each player to technically make 6 points for me to actually justify having them in there. MacArthur I actually had already. So as you can see, it's like it didn't really work out very well for me at all in the big scheme of things. Only Mane really probably is going to come close to actually recouping some points. But I had Salah, so I got good points in the end. However, I think it was 62% of people have Mo Salah in their side, and I would say a good hefty proportion of that, 62%, have him as captain. So even though he got massive points this week, because he scored 4 goals, and did he get an assist as well? Yeah, he did get an assist, and a clean sheet. It's just a massive goal, a massive score. Even though he did that, everybody probably got that. So as you can see in my global leagues, like, I'm kind of moving up, but I'm also moving down as well. It's a weird one, you know. Okay, but so for next week, I mean, I'll look at that at the end, I guess, what I'm going to do. But I left in these Burnley players and the Man City players because I was like, well, in order for me to bring in a defender and for them to make back the points I'd spend and bring them in, they'd have to probably score. Just to get a clean sheet would just about justify their cost. And as is, there's only like 2 sets of teams who got clean sheets, you know, so wasn't really worth it. But I did genuinely think West Brom would not score against Bournemouth, so I'm a bit gutted about that. I knew Wilson was a bit of a gamble up front, but sometimes you got to take a gamble. And because I'm doing this video, because I'm doing this series, it's better to gamble, if that makes sense, than to not. Like, it's more fun, isn't it? You know, it's probably a bit more entertaining. If I hadn't been doing this series, I possibly just wouldn't have done that. I probably would have brought in Mane still, and probably would have brought in some Palace players, because I knew Palace would beat Huddersfield. I just knew we would So let's go through the games. I guess there's only 4 of them, so it's not that much to go through, is there really? But we've got Bournemouth against West Brom. West Brom score first. Bournemouth bring it back with some late goals. This was nearly a bit of a shock. West Brom, obviously at the bottom of the table, haven't won in ages, and Bournemouth, while not out of the relegation zone in any, like the relegation area, I would say, not zone necessarily, but the area, you would expect them at home to be beating West Brom. So it was a shock when West Brom went 1 up, for sure. But here they put it back, and I guess more misery for West Brom. In a way, this might sound harsh, but that was a better result for West Brom than if they'd have won. Because the thing that hurts the most, and trust me as a Palace fan, I know about relegation, okay? We've had it a lot. The thing that hurts is the hope, okay? And when you can just accept the fact and look to next season and be like, okay, it's fine, it hurts a lot less than it happened to me once as a Crystal Palace fan. On the last day of the season, we got relegated in the last match, you know. That's when it hurts, because you still have that hope all the way up to the last day. And I think now, like, if West Brom had won that, people could have been possibly talking. They would have been on 23. Shot a mile away still with only 7 games left, but you never know. There has been some great escapes, but now I think people could probably agree 7 games left, 10 points adrift, terrible form. I think we've got our first pretty much sure bet of relegation now with West Brom. And I know that people might have been saying, oh, I said that ages ago, but like, you know, a win along here somewhere could have been the difference, I guess. Still giving them hope, but when you can sometimes, as horrible as it sounds, just give up that hope and just look to next season and be like, okay, well, we're going to be in the Championship next season. That's a thing. You know, and just kind of build from there, I guess. Sometimes it's a little bit easier to digest, but trust me, it still hurts to get relegated. Those of you who support clubs who, you know, don't get relegated, you know, at the top here and stuff like that, you don't know what it's like. Trust me. You might be like, oh, we finished outside the Champions League. Trust me, you don't know what it's like to get relegated. And you might say, well, it's your fault for supporting a crap side, but you know, a lot of people know that often you don't choose the side you support. You often, you know, support them from a very young age. Perhaps your family is there, or you're from that area, and you know, you just through thick and thin. That's why I always kind of get a little bit annoyed at like Arsenal fans complaining about Wenger and stuff like that, because they've never ever been in danger of being anywhere near here, have they? Really, you know, or anything like that. They're just like, that would never happen. Arsenal have never been relegated in their entire history. You know, to moan like, oh, we're not going to get Champions League football next year, it's going to be Europa League football. It's like, oh, my heart bleeds. Anyway, next up, Huddersfield, Crystal Palace. Man, oh man, Crystal Palace needed this win. I was confident coming into this game that we would beat Huddersfield, because I think Roy Hodgson said it after the game. They asked him, was he despondent after losing, you know, or was the squad a bit down after losing those games against like Chelsea, Man United, Tottenham, and I actually think we played pretty well in those games. Certainly in the Man United and Tottenham games, we probably deserved a point out of them. Probably not the Chelsea game, but we didn't play terribly. So I knew coming into Huddersfield that we could do something. Plus the fact that we had so many players coming back in there. Zaha obviously being the big name, you know, there, but yeah, so many others. Like Cabaye, makes a big difference in midfield for us. Cabaye, just a massive difference. Yeah, just like Sacco being back now as well in defence, although he did nearly give away a goal quite early on, but in the second half he was really good. And I've always always felt it all along that on paper, like Crystal Palace's squad and well, more team, I guess, is actually mid-table for the Premier League. Like, it's decent. The problem was the injury. Just we had 12 players, first team players, out at one point. We played Wan Bissaka, who's like I think he's a Belgium. They're saying midfielder, but he played right back. He's played 4 games for us. Tottenham, Chelsea, lost them all, but he was very, very good against Huddersfield. He's a very young player as well. He's one coming through, and he looked decent. He looked really decent. It just feels good to get a win. It's not over. We've got Liverpool next. It's tough, and while that got us up to 16th, obviously West Ham, Southampton play each other, so the chances are we'll at least drop to 17th. No, we will definitely drop to 17th. I was thinking, yeah, because if West Ham win, they'll go to 33, so they'll be up there, depending on what happens there. And we'll drop down one. If Southampton win, West Ham drop into the relegation because of goal difference. If there's a draw, then West Ham go one above us, and Southampton stay there. So we are technically out the relegation zone right now, but we're still in trouble. But I think we've got a good run in, actually, for the rest of the season. So I'm, apart from the Liverpool game next, which is, seriously, I don't want to play Liverpool right now. But we've actually historically done pretty well against Liverpool in the past. We've been a bit of a bogey team for them. Anybody remembers Dwight Gale's hat-trick will know that, but we'll see anyway. But yeah, just a really good performance in Palace. We never looked like we were going to lose that game. Huddersfield very rarely troubled us. Tompkins scored as a corner, crossed in, a bit of a scramble, and he poked it in. And Milicevic scored a penalty, which was definitely a penalty, to be fair. Townsend brought down for the penalty. It's some scrappy goals, really, but we're getting back into it. There's like Zaha, he took a little bit of a knock, but Hodgson said he was going to be fine, so I think he's going to play the next game. He was just getting kicked the shit out of, basically, on the pitch, which is, it's this worry that he is a focal point for Crystal Palace. What makes Zaha so good for Crystal Palace, and why I'm not necessarily sure he's going to be a player that a top 6 club necessarily going to be after, but what makes him so good for us is when we are having to defend, if teams coming up against us, which happens a lot because we're Crystal Palace, what you want to be able to do there is take, like, if you're defending and you just keep lumping the ball out, it just keeps coming back. It's like a boomerang. It's just going to keep going back because the opposition's going to get the ball. They're going to attack and attack and attack, and you can't do anything, and it just builds up the pressure. What Zaha does so well is we can, get the ball out to him, and then he can run with it. He is an outlet for us, in more ways than just lumping the ball up to Benteke and him heading it down to someone. But he will hold the ball by running with it. You see a lot of players who, they talk about holding up the ball, like Giroud or someone like that. It's a good striker who can do that. Zaha's similar, but obviously he's not that type of physical presence as such. Although he has got a lot bigger and stronger, I will say, since probably in the last couple of seasons. But he is that outlet that we can give it to him, and then he can hold the ball for support from other players and relieve that pressure from the defence, and that's what makes him so vital to Crystal Palace, I think, as well as the fact that he is a really good dribbler. The fact that even on an average day for him, there are sometimes they're double, triple teaming him in a similar way to Salah, which just provides the space for the other players to just float into and do their stuff, because everyone's so worried about Zaha. That's why he's vital to us. If you put him into a Tottenham or I don't know, Chelsea or someone like that, those attributes are not necessary. They generally don't need somebody to be an outlet as such like that. Often they have multiple players who are a threat. So I don't know how he fits into that, but clearly there are, clearly I firmly believe that he has the skills and technique to play for a top 6 side. I would just be interested to see how he fits in and what he does. Because it's no doubt he plays better when he is that focal point of the team. And I think he's enjoying that as well. So I don't know if he, people talk about him leaving at the end of the season. I don't know if he will, because he's obviously had that. He's left to Man United and come back again. So I don't know. And he knows he's onto a good thing here. We're paying him good money. Sure, he could make more money at the top 6, but it's not like he's on 20 grand a week or something. I think he's on a really good contract. So yeah, we'll see, I guess. Obviously, from a personal point of view, I hope we keep him. I've been a fan of his from the start. My one biggest sadness is the fact that he's not playing for England. He's playing for the Ivory Coast, and it's his choice at the end of the day. But I think he would be amazing for England. Personally, I think he would be exactly what England need. He's there. There isn't another English player like him. So yeah, it's sad that that's the case. But Ivory Coast, I guess, not a bad side, are they? So yeah, I'm really happy about that win. Really happy. Stoke Everton. This was an interesting one. Everton are terrible away. I was talking to a friend about this, and we were talking about what we're going to do with players, and he was saying he was going to put Cenk Tosun in because he's in form, and also he's Turkish, and so he loves Cenk Tosun. And I was like, yeah, but Everton are terrible away. They hadn't won away for ages. Possibly even Sam Allardyce's first game or something. But what happened was Everton went 1-up through Cenk Tosun, and my friend didn't put Cenk Tosun in his team in here, by the way, so he was gutted. Then Stoke brought it back. It was terrible conditions as well. The snow was coming down. By the way, it's snowing in England right now. It's the 18th of March, for fuck's sake. It's 1 degree outside. With wind chill, it's probably more like -6, -7. And I know some of you are going to be like, oh, it's cold where I am, blah, blah, blah. But trust me when I say England is not set up for this in March, okay? This doesn't happen. It's goddamn Russian winds. I'm not happy about it either, at all. It was horrible coming home from work yesterday. It's going to be horrible coming home from work today. But there we go anyway. Moving on. That's enough about my woes. So yeah, Everton went 1-0 up. Stoke brought it back. Everton scored a late winner. Cenk Tosun again with a head. Now, this was an interesting match because it saw Jack Butland against Jordan Pickford, both goalkeepers who are fighting for the England #1 spot. They're probably the two favourites, I guess, to get that. I thought both of them played pretty badly, I'll be completely honest. Pickford, so Jack Butland plays for Stoke, Jordan Pickford plays for Everton. I think Pickford was at fault for the Stoke goal. Choupo-Moting, it should have come out for it, and he didn't. And Butland, certainly for the second goal of Tosun, he got a hand to it, but he should have been stronger and put it past the post, but it went in. So that's a little bit worrying, isn't it? And it's also a bit worrying about how many goals these two goalkeepers have conceded. However, I will say this, that goalkeepers conceding is not necessarily their fault. It was also about the defence in front of them, and clearly Everton and Stoke have got pretty bad defences right now. Everton have conceded 50 goals. Stoke conceded 58 goals, which is the worst in the Premier League, I think. Yeah, the worst in the Premier League, 58. It's not all about the goalkeeper, Sometimes you can have someone like David De Gea who, can win a game on his own with some fantastic saves, but at the end of the day, he still concedes goals because Man United's defence is a bit crap. second best defence in the league. You know what I'm saying? The way they play is more defensive anyway. So yeah. But yeah, terrible conditions there, terrible conditions in this match as well. Liverpool, Watford. Wow, what a game. I was watching this game and this was just the Mo Salah show, wasn't it? Like, it was ridiculous. It's ridiculous how good he was. If you haven't seen this match or you haven't watched Match of the Day, just watch it, because people are saying like, oh, Salah, yeah, like there's comparisons with like Messi, and don't get me wrong, okay, I don't think Salah is as good as Messi. I don't think he's been anywhere near, like he's 25 now and he's coming onto the scene. Messi was already established, as he probably already won like a Ballon d'Or when he was 25, you know. Messi was on the scene when he was like 19. So as a general comparison, like, no way. In this particular match, this was Messi-esque for what he did. He destroyed Watford's defence, just absolutely destroyed them. Could have been way more than 5 as well. Salah got 4 goals and an assist. So essentially he scored 4 goals and then set up the 1 goal that he didn't score. It was just absolutely sensational. Weirdly, that was his first hat-trick as well. And obviously, first time he scored 4 goals. And now I think he's got 38 goals in total for Liverpool this season. 28 in the league, so he's well on course to hit 30 goals in a season, which for a midfielder, I'm doing air quotes there, is obviously phenomenal. Yeah, that game, he was just outrageously good. The last goal he scored, I think, where he had 3 defenders on him and he took them all out with like a shimmy. That's my stomach going there, sorry. It was just absolutely sensational. Like, I cannot encourage you enough to go watch that match or just the highlights of it, the goals, because this guy, it's, you know, people are talking about him like, oh, he should go to this team, or, you know, Liverpool going to be able to keep hold of him, but I think he'd be an idiot to leave, because I think him playing alongside Mane, Firmino, you know, the other players in midfield, like everything in that team is set up for him to go. It's kind of a bit like Zaha in a way. It's like if he does go to another team, like it's not set up to his strengths, if that makes sense. So, you know, if he went to a Bayern Munich, he's not going to be as good. If he goes to Real Madrid, not going to be as good. The only place I think he might actually be really good at would be Barcelona, which would be pretty scary. But I don't think they'd buy him because they've just spent a lot of money on Coutinho and Dembele. You know, replacing Neymar, but like for me, like Salah, this guy, it shows what a little bit of confidence can do, and having a team set up to play the right way for a player, you know, it shows, I think, what a very good manager Jurgen Klopp is. He has his faults, don't get me wrong, but one thing he does know how to do is like get the most out of players that he's got on the pitch. And let's not forget, when Firmino came to Liverpool, people were very cautious of this guy. Like, was he just a bit of a one-trick pony? Just a bit of a, you know, they didn't really know what to make of him. Mane has had some difficult times, but he's kind of coming through. I think he's played consistently well, and because he was at Southampton before, people knew he was good. But that kind of like that holy trinity, if you like, of 3 of those players linking up is so good, so good. And sure, Liverpool might sometimes lack the defensive coordination and cohesion sometimes, although they are getting better with Virgil van Dijk, I will say. And the fact that Karius is now the #1 goalkeeper and is beginning to do very well for them. And yeah, it's good. I you know, it's difficult to turn around and say about what goes through footballers' minds, because I don't know. I've never been a professional footballer, as good as Salah or anyone like that, or had a season like his. And I guess the worry is that if you don't capitalise on it now, are you ever going to be able to? If Real Madrid and Barcelona are knocking at the end of the season, offering him, mega bucks, is he going to be able to? Or Paris Saint-Germain even, is he going to be able to turn and go, do I see out this project at Liverpool, or do I go, it's kind of similar to Suarez in a way. I don't think Liverpool will sell him. I don't think he's going to go at the end of the season. I think Liverpool will look to build upon this team. But I think their team's looking really good right now. Robertson, the left back, is looking like an absolute bargain at 8 million. Very, very good player. And that team is beginning to look like a real team. And I feel like if you take any of these players out, it's not working as well. And I think they'll all stay personally. I think Coutinho was a thing where I think he'd wanted to leave for a while. And I think the Coutinho thing was, I don't see them selling Salah in that way. Does that make sense? That was something that was going on for a while. But it will be interesting because obviously I feel like Real Madrid are the ones who would come in for Salah. Because, as I said, Barcelona have spent a lot of money recently. Real Madrid haven't. And they're always after that kind of like big star. And I don't think Salah's going to the World Cup, is he? Is he? Egypt in the World Cup. Oh God, I'm going to have to just look this up quickly. Let me just look up Egypt in the World Cup. I haven't done my World Cup video yet, so I'm a little bit behind. God. Oh, they did qualify. So he is going to be in the World Cup. Is he? I think so. Yes, they did. Egypt became the second team from Africa to put their place in Russia, topping Group E with a game to spare. So Salah's going to the World Cup, which is another big thing where when players do well at the World Cup, it's going to be interesting that gets more global attention as well. I mean, as if he hasn't got global attention, I know, but man, he was good. He was real good. Just looking at Liverpool, fantastic as well. And from a league point of view, I mean, they've got us next up, which we didn't have to play them. Really, really wish we didn't have to play them, but that's the way it goes, I guess. Man City, Everton, that's an interesting one, because Everton are the only team other than Liverpool to beat Man City this season. They did it away, so... sorry, they're the only team to draw with Man City. The only team who beat Man City this season is Liverpool. Sorry, Everton drew away, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get a point at home to Man City, or even better. Probably not, I would say, but you never know. And the relegation battle is still on. I think Bournemouth and Watford are going to be okay. I think people are saying 37 points should be enough, and I kind of agree. So for those two not to get a point in their last 7 games would be weird, I think, especially if they got each other. So one of them's going to be alright. Brighton should be okay, but they're still close, and then really all these others are still right in it. So Palace playing Liverpool next, that's a tough one. West Ham, Southampton, the fixtures are all a bit screwed up at the minute because of different games, stuff like that. But looking at it, we've got Man United, Swansea. I'm not betting on either of those teams. Man United beat Brighton in the cup quite convincingly, which is good. But man, I don't know. I'd say an Arsenal win there. I have no idea about this game. There's some real tough choices to be made for the next game. What's the team that's in terrible form right now? Watford, I guess. Teams in bad form were Crystal Palace. So I definitely think Liverpool will beat Crystal Palace, by the way. West Brom are obviously terrible form, so I have got like 3 Burnley players, so I definitely like bring in I think Zaha's going to be okay, but I think I'd probably put Barnes up front because he's on the scoring form and he's playing West Brom, so I think I'll probably put Otamendi back in for, what's the question, probably MacArthur. Maybe go something like that, but perhaps switch out Zaha for somebody else. Obviously have De Gea in goal. Trying to think, probably another Man City player, probably like switch him out for like a Sane or someone like that, or De Bruyne perhaps, or Aguero, something like that. I'd have a look, but I can save that for now. But I'll have to have a look a little bit closer to the time because we've still got a long time till that's at the end of the month. So there probably, well, there won't be another video next week. What I'm going to do in the meantime though is I'm going to do a little, like I'm so sad, I'm going to do a spreadsheet of the relegation teams' last games and some predictions on what I think is going to happen, because I'm intrigued from a personal point of view, obviously being a Crystal Palace fan, of what's going to happen, and yeah, I guess we're going to wait and see. But yeah, it's definitely some interesting games, even though we only had 4 of them. But there you go. So till next time, guys, thank you so much for watching. Probably actually not even that short an episode considering, I guess, but yeah. And as I said, check out Salah's goals because they were incredible. But till then, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.